Again, once more.
Even Cathy Berberian knows.
Cathy's KRO solo talk show.
Again, once more.
Amor misterioso gelo nessuno può domesticare, ogni orcissimo strano bello se gli conviene ricusar.
No, wait a minute, let's do it in German? Wait a minute, I gotta find it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, wait a minute, okay, do it again.
I love Cathy Berberian.
Ja, die Liebe hat bunte Flügel, solch seinen Vogel sämt man schwer. Halte fest sie mit Band und Zügel, wenn sie nicht wählt, kommt sie nicht her.
You got the verb that time.
Isn't that unbelievable in German? I mean, it doesn't... Okay,
Well, what's it about the Vogel then?
Well, it's the bird. There's a bird in every one of them.
With the bird in everyone see.
Okay,
There
now
was
let's,
that, that's right, yes.
let's do, of That's Love, we'll do this and the second verse too, because the words in the second verse are very good.
You're gonna,
Now we transpose it to That's Love.
But do we do this? We do this. Yes, that's right.
Very, it has to be, that's it. Love's a baby that grows up wild and he don't do what you want him to. Love ain't nobody's angel child and he won't pay any mind to you. One man gives me his diamond stud and I won't give him a cigarette. One man treats me like I was mud and what I got that man can get. Okay. So, I think that's the aspect that attracts everybody in coloratura. I can equate it up a little bit with what happens with aerial acrobats in circuses. Why do we go to a circus? Because every time they're risking their lives, which is what a coloratura is doing. She is risking her musical life with this kind of virtuosity. And of course, the cleaner it is, the more musical it is, the more exciting it can be. It's an exercise in acrobatics, vocal acrobatics that we admire. Sometimes I feel like taking the singer and shaking them and saying, "Why can't you see that's wrong?" You know, to help them, not because I'm mad or nasty or something. What they're not putting in is the involvement in the character that I get from Callas, that I get from Domingo, that I get very often from Freni. Her Margherita and Faust is so touching, and I adored her Bohème too. But they don't think out. I always feel that in opera, in all music that we sing, where the words are involved, but particularly in opera, where you have dialogue, where you have dramatic theatrical situations, which are supposed to reflect human situations, the words should come out of our mouths as if we were thinking them. It's not the testo of Piave. We, as Elisabetta or Traviata, Violetta, we are thinking those words. And consequently, we should give each of those words the weight we would give if we were saying them in real life. And most operatic singers just sing them. Oh, God, I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. Listen, I think any kind of musical experience that opens doors for you is legitimate. I also I don't believe in the kind of musical snobism that is prevalent. For example, people who say, "Oh, Fantasia." Listen, Fantasia, Song to Remember, the life of Chopin with Cornel Wilde, of all people, and Merle Oberon as George Sand. Okay, but I was working in a music store at that time, and you will not believe how many people came to the store to buy Chopin records that had never heard of Chopin before. I think that's positive. It doesn't have to be absolutely accurate, the life of Chopin. just so long as it opens up new musical vistas for people who've never had the contact. Someone would come in and say, I have an old aunt who's having her 80th birthday. What record shall I get her? My hand on the Bible. I laughed when I read it. And I said, oh, come on now. You know, I just wouldn't believe that. And I had heard a joke about a singing teacher. You know, it's very complicated. It's in Italian, you know, where the guy says he knows the secret of bel canto, and you have to pay a lot of money, and then you have to meet him under the bridge and everything, and then he'll tell you what the secret of the bel canto is, and then the crux of the joke is the man who's going to pay the money is so tired of it, and he said, do you want this? Now shall I give you the secret of singing? He said, my ass. And he said, you know it. Well, actually, the big explosion was the end of 58, the beginning of 59, when Cage wrote the aria for mezzo-soprano and Fontana Mix for me. That really shook the ideas that people had about vocal possibilities. I remember the first time I did it was in Rome for the Accademia Filarmonica Romana. And it was an afternoon performance, and they were the usual little old ladies, you know, and that obviously were quite shaken up by this thing. And there was a question and answer period afterwards with John Cage answering questions, and I was doing some of the translation of the questions and the answers, of course. And at one point, one of these little ladies got up very primly, you know, with very tight little lips, and said, Mr. Cage, this is in Italian, of course, Mr. Cage, how could you let that lady, that was me, that lady, how could you let that lady do such obscene things? And of course, I translated this, even if it concerned me. And he waited a minute, and he said, there was a village where there was a absolutely beautiful young girl, and she was so beautiful that every male from the age of 6 to 60 desired her. Everywhere she went, they followed her with their eyes. And one day, this beautiful young girl took off her clothes and walked into a deep lake. And the fish were frightened.